Drake Maye's concussed. Now what? We'll tell you here on Patscast.
Dog rookie taking hits to the head. Still swinging, won't lay in bed. NFL decides to pull him, is that right?
Welcome to Patscast. I'm Brad Whitaker. As we all know at this point, rookie quarterback Drake Maye could potentially be out for an extended period of time after suffering a concussion during Sunday's victory over the lowly New York Jets. And I cannot emphasize that word lowly enough. But frankly, I don't even think this would have been considered a concussion had things played out slightly differently after Drake Maye was hit in the back of the head at the end of the first quarter. But why don't we rewind a little bit, tell you exactly what happened. End of the first quarter, Drake Maye has a nice scramble up the middle, slides perhaps a tenth of a second too late, gets hit in the back of the head, helmet to helmet. No penalty called there for unnecessary roughness. Perhaps it should have been called, but ultimately Drake Maye stayed in the game for another 4 plays before ultimately being pulled. And head coach Jerod Mayo clarified after the game saying, quote, "It was called down from the league. They wanted to do further evaluation. When I went in there at halftime, he wanted to go back out there, but obviously he didn't pass the test." And not going to get too far into that, but at the same time, he went out there, threw a couple good balls after, I guess, and he supposedly was put in the protocol. So I really have a lot of issue with the way the NFL handles all this concussion stuff. It's like a case-by-case thing, and some of the most egregious examples of obvious concussions, players go back into the game, whereas Drake Maye literally played 4 plays after he was hit in the back of the head sliding. Not only did he play 4 more plays, he was in the game going into the second quarter. He was there between the break, between the first and second quarter, played another couple plays before the NFL decided to ultimately yank him from the game. So how exactly does the in-game concussion protocol work? So I guess supposedly there are spotters out there. They're independent, unaffiliated neurotrauma consultants, UNC as they call it. Very fitting with Drake Maye. And they watch for signs for potential concussions throughout the game, and they also use video replay to identify risky plays and see if there's any symptoms on the field. If there's any immediate no-go symptoms, the players are immediately pulled from the game. But if that's not obvious, the players will undergo a quick assessment using the NFL sideline concussion assessment tool to check symptoms, balance, coordination, and memory. And that's when they pull you into the blue tent to maintain privacy, reduce distractions, and nobody actually really knows what goes on in that blue tent, to be honest. Josh Allen goes in there, he gets put back in the game. Drake Maye goes in there after resting between quarters, playing 4 plays, and then and looking fine, frankly, and then he has to go to the locker room. So, assuming they don't pass whatever tests happen there in the blue tent, the players are taken to the locker room for a deeper, comprehensive assessment with various medical tools. And if any signs of a concussion are confirmed, the player is ruled out for the rest of the game. If not, they may potentially be cleared to play. Spotters can also call a medical timeout if they see concerning hits or symptoms requiring a reevaluation of the player, which they obviously did not do on Sunday. So, again, I mentioned the Josh Allen example. Go watch the hit he took a few weeks ago. I believe it was a game in London against the Jaguars. Josh Allen took an absolutely brutal hit and hit his helmet against the ground sideways, which tends to be a lot worse than the helmet-to-helmet hits, frankly. Really looked dazed and confused, went in the blue tent and was back in the game almost immediately. So that's what happened with Josh Allen. Drake Maye, on the other hand, like I said, takes a hit to the back of the head, plays a couple of plays, looks totally fine, and then takes the break into the second quarter, switches sides of the field, and then plays another couple of plays. And for the most part, he looked fine. There was a moment where he did take a sack, where perhaps he could have taken a sideways step and extended the play like Drake Maye often does, but it was a rush up the middle. Those are very hard, quick decisions that the quarterback has to make and doesn't always make, depending on where their eyes are on the field and if they can't see the rushers coming. But then the very next play, Drake Maye's last play on Sunday before he was yanked in the game, he threw a bullet to Kayshon Boutte right down the middle of the field, probably would have been for a first down, which of course Kayshon Boutte decided to drop, as many of the Patriots receivers did on Sunday. My question is, had Kayshon Boutte caught that ball, The Patriots had a first down, and they're driving down the field. Drake Maye leads them on a touchdown drive. They go up 14-6. Would the NFL have evaluated Drake Maye after that happened? My guess is no. They would not have done that. But because there were just a few plays between the hit to the back of the head, they decided that Drake Maye needed to be evaluated. But of course, if Maye had looked fine and Kayshon Boutte had caught that ball, I don't think it would have happened. And that's what's so absurd about this NFL concussion protocol, at least in-game, because really it just depends on the evaluator who's out there and whether they like the quarterback or the team or not. I know they're supposed to be unaffiliated, but let's say this happened in a playoff game. Do you think there would have been a little bit more pressure to put Drake Maye back out there? Of course there would be. He probably would have been back out there. Remember Julian Edelman, the Patriots' 4th Super Bowl title. He took what was an obvious concussion, and Julian Edelman basically has admitted that he was concussed that game. He said, I felt fine for the most part, but obviously was hit to the point where if it was under the current NFL concussion protocol, he would have been yanked from the game. Super Bowl didn't matter. Julian Edelman played the rest of the game, had the game-leading touchdown before Malcolm Butler's famous interception at the end of that game. So, again, look, the NFL, I know there's that Will Smith movie that came out. I know we should take head injury seriously, and there's the examples of Tua Tagovailoa, who should be wearing the Guardian cap and doing all that stuff and really taking himself more seriously. But when you have examples like this, just let the guy play. If he's back out there and he looks fine, like, just let him. This is the NFL, all right? These guys, we watch UFC, we watch boxing. These guys get concussed the first time they get hit by a jab. Like, I'm sorry. This was an instance where the NFL was trying to make a statement after everything that happened with Tua. So now Drake Maye has to be in the out-of-game 12-step concussion protocol, which of course starts, I'll go through all the steps here. The first step is acceptance, and you have to call all the members of your family and forgive them and admit any wrongdoing that you've done to them. The second step, of course, is to strengthen your faith. Oh, actually, I'm reading the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, the concussion protocol is actually just 5 simple steps. So the first one, they call phase 1, is symptom-limited activity. So players have to rest and avoid activities that could potentially make symptoms worse, both physical and cognitive. So Drake Maye, at this point in time, probably just sitting on a couch staring at the ceiling. At least that's what his medical team is probably telling him. So if he's okay, laying on the couch, doing absolutely nothing, then he can move on to phase 2, which is aerobic exercise. So that starts with light cardio under medical supervision. So it could be like a stationary bike or a treadmill, and they're supposed to gradually increase intensity, but only if symptoms don't worsen during or after exercise. So he gets on the treadmill, doesn't seem to be able to walk, then obviously that's not going to work. Then maybe you do something, you play Twister, you do something a little less physical, evaluate him that way. That's phase 2. But if all goes well there and Drake Maye is able to walk on a treadmill on 2 feet, then he can move into phase 3, which is football-specific exercise. So this is continue supervised cardio with added strength training. So Drake Maye on the treadmill, 25-pound weights in both hands. If he doesn't fall over, he's probably fine. And then he can begin short team exercises, usually under 30 minutes, that are also carefully monitored for symptoms. All goes well there, he moves into phase 4, which is club-based non-contact training drills. So this is a little bit more conditioning, a little bit of balance training, has to stand on a balance beam, hit the landing, put his hands in the air, thank the crowd. All goes well there. He can join in non-contact football drills like running, throwing, and position-based activities. And that progress is monitored closely. No tackling or contact yet, which he's a quarterback wearing a red jersey. That's not going to happen anyway. All goes well there. Then he can move into phase 5, which is full football activity / clearance. If symptom-free and tests are back normal, the team doctor can allow a full contact practice. If the player can rejoin full football activities, they look good, Then they'll be cleared to go. And then by the time we've reached phase 5, it's 2028, and Drake Maye is off of his rookie contract. So right now, Drake Maye probably still in phase 1. We haven't really had any reports of how his condition is, and certainly he's being monitored. But this is a ridiculous process. I'm sorry. I know. Head trauma is something to be taken seriously, and this is far too sarcastic of a podcast, far too inappropriate to be saying this stuff. Of course, medical stuff, head trauma, bad. But is Drake Maye really not throwing a football in his backyard right now? Of course he is. He's ready to go back out. He was ready to go back out there in the second half. Meanwhile, Josh Allen, who probably couldn't have even spelled his name a few weeks ago, practicing the following week, no problem. Everything was okay. And this is just the way it works. And it's luck of the draw, depending on how you're being monitored, who these unaffiliated medical team monitoring professionals are. And unfortunately, Drake Maye had bad luck of the draw on Sunday. But like I said, had Kayshon Boutte caught that ball, Drake Maye led the team down the field on a touchdown drive. I don't think any of this would have happened. But usually when these concussions happen and players go into concussion protocol, they don't play the following week. That's just the truth. That doesn't mean there isn't a chance. I'd say it's probably 33% chance Drake Maye plays on Sunday at Tennessee at this point. We'll see the reports coming out as the team gets back to practice on Wednesday. Today's victory Monday. Tuesday's a normal off day. So we'll probably have a better idea on Drake Maye's condition in a couple of days. But overall, it's tough not having him out there. And credit to Jacoby Brissett. He is an A-plus backup quarterback. He is a C-minus starting quarterback, but A-plus backup quarterback, and he did exactly what you could ask him to do on Sunday. Going in there, I thought that Alex Van Pelt was a little bit too conservative when Brissett entered the game, but when he had to sling it, didn't have the velocity of Maye, didn't have the footwork or the ability to extend plays like Maye, but he made some big plays. Hunter Henry made some clutch catches, and of course, the deep bomb to Kayshon Boutte in the final seconds of the game that ultimately set up a run by Ramondre Stevenson, which ultimately gave the New England Patriots the victory. Gerard Mayo said early on Monday that Drake Maye has to protect himself better, and that is the truth, right? Like, this is football. Players, they want to get that extra yard, but Drake Maye already had a first down. It was like a 20-yard rush or whatever it was. Slide a little bit earlier, give up the extra yard, make sure you're not taking those hard hits. He's generally pretty good at that. That's what I liked about Drake Maye coming out of college relative to a guy like Jaden Daniels, who, best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion. Clearly, he not only might he win Rookie of the Year, he's probably going to win MVP this year if he plays at the level he's been playing the rest of the season. But Jaden Daniels is a guy who never slides, takes every potential hit out there, and that's why I just don't think he's going to be able to stay healthy, and why I think Drake Maye was the better choice. Not like the Patriots had a choice with Jaden Daniels being selected the pick before them, but Drake Maye is generally pretty good at sliding. He just needs to do a better job at making sure he's not taking those hits. Agree with Gerard Mayo there, even if some might consider it victim blaming. But other news coming out of the Patriots today, Josh Uche, who is a healthy scratch on Sunday. We all thought that means he's on the trade block. He's probably going somewhere else. Well, we got the news today that he was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 6th-round draft pick. And, I know some Patriots fans are upset because maybe you could get something better for, an elite pass rusher like Josh Uche. But you have to remember, he's on a 1-year contract right now. He's not being paid a ton of money. Really, he was brought back on kind of a prove-it deal before being signed potentially to a long-term extension with the Patriots, but things ultimately didn't really work out. I mean, Josh Uche was basically a third-down player with Bill Belichick out there, and there were thoughts that once the Patriots re-signed him for a year on a prove-it deal, Gerard Mayo would make him more of an every-down type player. That just wasn't the case, and in fact, Josh Uche's snap count has been dropping all season long. He was mainly used just as a designated pass rusher. Patriots rarely had much of a lead in any of these games all season. That kind of limited his role a little bit. And they got other options there too. You got Keon White, you got Jelani Tavai, you got Anthony Jennings, you have that Mathis guy who's just elevated to the roster. Again, trade value, not going to get much for a guy halfway through the season on a one-year deal that isn't a ton of money. So, I think a 6th-round pick, Elliott Wolf did the right job here. I don't think the Patriots are losing much considering Josh Uche was kind of slowly being phased out there. Patriots likely to be active in free agency this year. Compensatory picks from Uche's potential big deal money wouldn't have come their way at any point. So no potential for comp picks there with Uche. Like, that's just not going to happen. That's not the way it works. But good job for the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Uche is now going from a 2-win team to an undefeated team right now that has a real solid chance at winning the Super Bowl. Uche is obviously going to play a real role there, going to help in their playoff push, and if he shines and does exactly what he needs to do, he'll probably land a big contract either with the Chiefs or probably most likely somewhere else. If that were to happen, the Chiefs could end up with a 3rd-round compensatory pick in 2026, so the Chiefs are the ones that could get the comp pick now. So that's just the way it is. Sad to see Josh Uche go, but ultimately he didn't turn into the every down player that we thought he might be, and the Patriots have plenty of depth at that position, even if they haven't played very well over the last few weeks, although they did look better Sunday against the Jets. And, it's not like Josh Uche is the kind of defensive player that's going to make a major impact at stopping the run, which is the real issue that this Patriots defense has right now. But that's it for this episode of Pat's Cast. Let me know in the comments, am I being a little too sarcastic about this concussion protocol? Should I take this a little bit more seriously? Or do you see real issues, as I do, with the way the NFL handles these sorts of things? Do you think they're just trying to make a statement after what happened with Tua, in my opinion? Or do you think they're handling this the right way? I'm curious to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, or subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll see you throughout the rest of the week.
Star rookie taking hits to the head, still swinging, won't lay in bed. NFL decides to pull him, is that right? Maye wants to play, he's gotta fight. Pascal says he's got the heart of a lion, playing through the pain, ain't no denying. We hope he gets better real soon, my friend. Pascal's cheering to the very end. Bright future, yeah, it shines so clear. Pats cast fans holding back their fear. Helmet after helmet crashing down, yet he stayed on grinding for the crown. Pats cast says he's got the heart of a lion, playing through the pain, ain't no denying. We hope he gets better real soon, my friend. Pats cast cheering till the very end. Yeah, it shines so clear. Pats cast fans holding back their fear. Helmet after helmet crashing down, yet he stayed on grinding for the crown. Pats cast says he's got the heart of a lion, playing through the pain, ain't no denying. We hope he gets better real soon, my friend. Pats cast cheering till the very end. Lights are flashing, no time to rest. Pats cast calls him our very best. Doctors gather, but he's still standing tall. Cast whispers have to save his fall. Adrenaline's rushing, can't feel the ache. Pats cast heroes never break, but his eyes show the toll he's paid. Pats cast echoes hope ain't delayed. Pats cast says he's got the heart of a lion, playing through the pain, ain't no denying. We hope he gets better real soon, my friend. Pats cast cheering till the very end.